to start our Monet inspired water lilies, I'm going to use oil pastels. If you don't have oil pastels, crayons will be okay. You'll just want to make sure you press down really, really hard. That way the watercolor we use later won't disrupt the marks you make to begin with. Now, my paper is a textured watercolor paper, but you do not have to use this. You can use a nice thick drawing paper. That will be just fine. So I'm gonna go ahead, and the picture I'm looking at, of course you can't see it, but it's over there. I'm looking at the shapes of my water lilies first. So you would want to Google Monet water lilies, and you're gonna notice that the general shape of his water lilies are ovals. They're kind of ellipses, actually. So I'm gonna get a family of colors that I know I want to use because I think it'll be helpful to have them next to each other. I really like these. There we go. And the way I'm gonna begin is I'm just gonna use this really light pink here first. And I'm gonna draw these ellipses in little groups, okay? So I'm gonna start. Group A is right here. And these do not have to be perfect. They're supposed to be a little more muddled, which means a little blurry, a little hard to see. I'm gonna make a few more pink ones, maybe here, maybe just 2 right here. I like the way that looks. And I'm gonna grab this blue here. I'm gonna add maybe another group of 3 here. Now what you want to do is add to the top of these flowers. And with that, I'm going to use some lighter colors on top first. And I'm making little U motions and kind of filling them in like that. So on top of this one, I used a lighter peach. On top of this peach, I'm going to use a pink. Okay. Over here, I'm going to use maybe a darker purple. It's up to you what you use. If you want some blues in there, do it. I actually think I'm going to. I'm going to use a little, just a little bit. And then actually, I'm going to have a little yellow popping right there. I'm also going to add just a touch of yellow to the top of this one here. Maybe a touch of dark purple right there just to make it pop. But you can see they're, you know, these are scratchy. They're not supposed to be perfect. I am going to add a little bit of white. And while you can't see it here yet, this will show up when you add your watercolor paint. So I'm just going to add this around, and I'm also going to add this around my little initial ellipsis. You can do this now, you can do this when you first make them, but see how adding this white over it blends it a little bit? And again, it should be kind of scratchy. It shouldn't be exact, because Monet's work is known for being very sort of dreamlike, okay? What are we, good so far? Great. Let's see what else I want to add. I kind of want to add just a little accent of blues here. Maybe it's a nice one here. Sometimes it's just nice to see how a color will behave in a different area, you know? It might look a little different and might really add a little pop that you weren't expecting. That can be kind of nice. I love this exploration I'm doing here. Alrighty. I think I'm good. What do you think? Yeah, a little bit here. Just a bit. Okay. I know I'll keep going forever and ever. Now what I want to do, the picture I'm looking at has a beautiful stream going up. So I am going to take this light blue and really, really gently make kind of like an outline. I do want some white, and the white I'm gonna press the hardest. This added white with the pastel is gonna really help with the reflective aspect of the water, because these flowers are really sitting on top of water. So we want that there, and that's why I like the white accent around these areas, because it'll really make the reflections pop. Next, we have the green, light green I'm going to take first, and I'm going to add just sort of a nice scribbly, squabbly texture here. Imagine this. These are like kind of lily pad-esque, and it's sort of the swamp, the reeds around your water. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's very sketchy-ish. And I'm gonna add a little dark near the edges here to make the edges contrast a little bit. You see at this point, it's kind of rubbing together, right? Yeah. Now I am actually gonna go back over the inner area and add a trail of white to the remainder of the inside here. I really want that to stand out differently than this side, okay? Now what you can go back and do if you want is you can add little high reeds of grass. You don't have to do this. You can if you want to. Remember, you are the artist, you have a voice, you have a choice. All right, I think I am ready for the watercolor part. So I'm gonna put my oil pastels away. I love cleaning as I go. It helps later with the giant mess that we artists do indeed create. Now, see these little crusties? Can you see those crusties, pastel crusties? Flick them away or tap them away. Don't rub them away because they will smear all over your artwork. All right. I'm gonna work, I think, from the outside in, because I know that I want this side to be dark. Well, in that case, I might as well work from outside, but I'm gonna stick to my initial thought. So I'm gonna let that soak in for a moment. And then I'm just gonna add. Looking good. I'm gonna lighten that part up over here. And if you want to sort of subtract some paint, you can take a paper towel, tap, 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 tap like that, and it kind of disappears. Also, see how that's kind of like all the same color now? What I might want to do is go ahead and add a little brown, just to add some depth. You could get risky. You could go for some black. Let's look what black looks like on the other side. You don't need much. A little bit goes a long way. Not bad, not bad. It's a little more grayish, of course, if you add the black, but, you know, whatever floats your boat. Or whatever floats your water, Lily. Sorry, I do enjoy my silly jokes. Anyways, what we're gonna work on now is, I mean, if you're happy with your painting like this, leave it. If you're like, you know what, I don't wanna risk it, don't risk it. Let it be the way it is, okay? I am, however, gonna go in with some light blue. And what if I'm worried that this is a little too dark to begin with? I have the side of my paint palette here, or if you have like wax paper or tinfoil, that can be your paint palette. And if you add water, it just dilutes the paint a bit more. I'm just gonna go over this edge just to fill it in. Now to really make this pop, I'm gonna keep going inward with my blue, but I wanna make sure it's not too dark. This is why I put that layer of white in here. I wanted to make sure that it maintained its lightness, even if I go over it with a little bit of blue. So see how it's kind of bumpy? The water beads are sticking on top. That's because the oil pastel is resisting them. It's saying, no thank you, back right on up there. And I'm just wiping it or dabbing it clean. I'm digging it. I think now I want more of a blue purple. Okay, so I'm gonna add a little blue, darker blue here. And let's add a little purple, see what that does. All right, I think I'm ready. I'm gonna add this darker shade to show some shadow. And if you like those little beads, leave them there. They should, or they might, dry there. Now I know if this is further away, it's gonna be darker, so I wanna add a little bit more dark up there. That's good. I really want there to be a distinct difference between the edges of the marsh, where this grassy stuff is, and the center of my lily pads. You can even use your brush to create some textures. Looking pretty good. I think I'm just about ready to be done. And that, my friends, is your Monet water lily swamp.